Welcome to Trending Today podcast. Everything you missed today in 15 minutes. So this whole testosterone sex drive connection, turns out it might not be as straightforward as we thought.
Oh, really? I thought it was like testosterone up, libido up. Pretty basic, right?
Exactly. That's what everyone assumed. But this new study, published in the Proceedings of the Royal Society B, kind of flips the script. They looked at 41 men, all young guys, 18 to 26, for a whole month.
Okay, so a decent sample size, but probably not enough to get the full picture yet, right?
Yeah, definitely room for more research, but their findings are still pretty interesting. They measured testosterone daily through saliva samples, and the guys also filled out questionnaires about their sexual desire and how much they were, putting themselves out there romantically.
So what did they find? Spill the tea.
Get this, no direct correlation. A guy could have high testosterone one day and not necessarily feel any more, shall we say, motivated than usual.
Whoa. That's pretty surprising, right? What does that imply for things like testosterone supplements then?
Well, the study does acknowledge that for some folks with low T, absolutely, taking testosterone can help boost sex drive. That makes sense, right? But for the majority of men with normal levels, daily changes in testosterone really don't seem to impact their immediate desires. It might not be the magic bullet people thought it was.
Interesting. So if it's not about spiking daily desire, then what is testosterone's role in all this?
Well, that's where things get even more fascinating. They noticed a link between testosterone and courtship behavior, especially in single men. On days they interacted with potential partners, their T levels tended to be higher. So it's maybe less about desire and more about the drive to pursue a mate, right?
So like a competitive edge? Almost like a peacock flashing its tail feathers? Makes evolutionary sense. If you're out there competing, higher testosterone might give you that extra push.
Exactly. And interestingly, this effect seemed less pronounced in men who were already in relationships. It's like once you've secured a partner, the testosterone-driven pursuit kind of chills out.
Fascinating. So maybe the evolutionary purpose of testosterone is more about securing a mate in the first place, rather than fueling ongoing desire, yeah? That's quite a shift in perspective.
Right. So it's not like, boom, testosterone spike equals instant desire. It's more nuanced than that, yeah?
Way more nuanced. It really challenges that simple cause and effect relationship we all assumed, right? I mean, daily saliva samples, daily questionnaires. That's pretty thorough data collection.
Totally. And it's not to say testosterone plays no role in desire, especially for men with clinically low T. Supplementation can definitely help them.
Right. The study acknowledges that. But for guys with normal levels, it's not the day-to-day driver of libido. So what is it doing then? What's the evolutionary advantage?
Well, that's the fascinating part. Remember how they tracked courtship behavior too, like actual interactions with potential partners?
Yeah. Don't leave me hanging. What'd they find?
On the days these single guys were actively pursuing someone, their testosterone tended to be higher. It's like it kicks in when you're in the game, so to speak.
Oh. So less about feeling desire and more about having the drive to act on it, to go out there and compete?
Precisely. It's like a biological wingman giving you that extra oomph to, approach someone, make a move. And interestingly enough, this effect was much less pronounced in the men who were already coupled up.
Makes sense. If you've already secured a partner, that competitive testosterone-fueled drive probably isn't as crucial, right? Evolutionarily, the goal is reproduction, secure the mate, then focus on, other things.
So it's not quite as simple as low T, low libido, right? I mean, for some guys, yeah, absolutely.
But for most men, it's not the daily ups and downs of testosterone that dictate their interest levels. Yeah?
Exactly. And that's where this study really gets fascinating, right? It's not just about how much testosterone you have, but when those levels fluctuate.
Oh, so like timing matters?
It's all about context. They found a link between testosterone and, wait for it, courtship behavior.
Courtship, really? So less about like feeling desire and more about actively pursuing a partner?
Precisely. Especially in single men, they noticed a spike in testosterone on days they interacted with potential mates. It's like a boost, right, when you're in the game, so to speak.
So it's not the feeling, it's the doing, the drive to compete to win someone over? That's interesting.
So it's not just about, feeling the urge. It's about actually doing something about it. That's where the testosterone comes in, right?
Yeah, that's what's so fascinating. It's like the testosterone kicks in when you're actively pursuing a partner, especially if you're single, like a biological wingman almost.
Exactly. It's not just sitting around thinking about it. It's getting out there and, competing for a mate. Makes evolutionary sense, doesn't it?
Total sense. Like imagine two guys vying for the same partner. The one with the higher testosterone surge might be the one who's more assertive, more likely to make a move.
It's not just humans either. Think about animals, like bucks locking horns or birds with their elaborate mating displays. Testosterone plays a huge role there too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Peacocks with their huge, vibrant tails. That's a classic example of testosterone-driven courtship display. It's a signal, you know? Look at me. I'm healthy. I'm strong.
Precisely. So it's less about feeling desire and more about showing off, about proving yourself. And this study suggests that same mechanism might be at play in humans too.
But the thing is, once you're coupled up,
Yeah, things change, don't they? That competitive edge seems to, mellow out a bit. Hmm.
which again makes evolutionary sense, once you've secured a mate, that constant testosterone-fueled drive isn't as crucial anymore. Your focus shifts, right?
Makes you wonder, though, well, never mind.
No, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just thinking, if this testosterone boost is linked to pursuing a mate, what happens in long-term relationships? Does it disappear entirely, or does it maybe resurface in different ways, like, protecting your partner, providing for them? Maybe that's where the testosterone goes. Just a thought.
That's a really interesting point. Definitely something to ponder. It challenges the traditional narrative about testosterone and sex drive, doesn't it? Makes it much more complex and fascinating.
Makes you wonder, though, if this testosterone boost is linked to pursuing a mate, what happens in long-term relationships? Does it just vanish?
Right? Does it disappear entirely? Or does it maybe like resurface in different ways? Maybe it shifts, you know?
Yeah, maybe instead of that competitive, pursuit energy, it gets channeled into protecting your partner, providing for them, building a family. Maybe that's where the testosterone goes.
That's a fascinating thought. So instead of attracting a mate, it's about keeping them, about ensuring the survival of your offspring. It still serves that evolutionary purpose, just in a different way.
Exactly. It's not just about the initial spark. It's about the long game, right? Building something lasting.
Which really challenges the traditional narrative about testosterone and sex drive, right? It makes it much more complex and way more fascinating, honestly.
Totally. And it highlights the importance of, looking at the whole picture, not just hormone levels, but the entire context.
Oh, absolutely. Holistic approaches to sexual health, considering factors beyond just like low T, low libido. Because clearly, it's not that simple.
And speaking of low T, the study does acknowledge that for some guys, absolutely, supplementation can be helpful, especially those with clinically low levels.
Right. It's not saying testosterone plays no role in desire. But for most men, it's not the day-to-day driver, yeah? It's more about this courtship behavior, this competitive edge.
Precisely. Which has huge implications for things like testosterone supplements, right?
Oh, definitely. The whole idea of using them to boost libido in men with normal levels, this research suggests that might not be very effective.
Yeah, it's not the magic bullet people thought it was. It's more nuanced than that. So much more.
Way more. And it really underscores the need for more research in this area, right? To fully understand this complex interplay between hormones, behavior, and, the evolutionary drive to reproduce.
Makes you wonder, though, if, beyond just the evolutionary stuff,
Yeah? What are you thinking?
Well, if this testosterone boost is linked to pursuing a mate, what happens in long-term relationships where, the pursuit isn't so intense?
Right. Does it just disappear entirely, or does it get channeled into other aspects of the relationship, like protecting your partner, providing for them, building a family? Maybe that's where the testosterone goes.
Exactly. It's not just about the initial spark. It's about the long game, right? Building something lasting.
It's like the focus shifts from attracting a mate to ensuring their well-being, and the survival of your offspring still serves that evolutionary purpose, just in a different way. Pretty cool, huh?
Super cool. And it totally challenges the traditional narrative, right? Makes it much more complex and, dare I say, way more fascinating.
Absolutely. It highlights the importance of a holistic approach, right? Considering psychological factors, relationship dynamics, the whole nine yards, not just hormone levels.
Totally. It's all about context. And speaking of context, we should mention the study's limitations, shouldn't we?
Sound effect, short transition. Oh, right. The sample size, 41 young men. Important to remember that.
Exactly. Relatively small, and further research is definitely needed to confirm these findings in larger and more diverse populations, older men, different age groups, the whole spectrum.
Yeah, the results may not be generalizable to everyone, so while this study provides valuable insights, it's crucial to keep those limitations in mind. More research is key.
And, it makes you wonder, what about other factors, right? Beyond just testosterone, I mean.
Oh, totally. Stress, for example, or relationship dynamics, those can play a huge role, yeah?
Huge. And, even things like diet and exercise, it's all connected, isn't it?
Definitely. It's a whole ecosystem, not just one hormone doing its thing in isolation. This study really opens up a lot of new avenues for research, I think.
Totally. Like, imagine studying how testosterone interacts with other hormones like dopamine or serotonin. That could be really insightful, couldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Or how about looking at the impact of social and cultural factors on testosterone levels and courtship behavior? There's so much more to explore.
Right? It's not just biology, it's the whole enchilada.
Exactly. And that's what makes this so fascinating, right? It challenges the simple narratives and forces us to think more broadly.
Speaking of narratives, this study really flips the script, doesn't it? I mean, the whole testosterone equals sex drive thing?
Totally. It's not wrong exactly, but it's definitely incomplete. It's a piece of the puzzle, not the whole picture. More nuanced, as you said.
Way more nuanced. And it really highlights the importance of considering the bigger picture, the whole person, not just their hormone levels.
Oh, for sure. Holistic approaches to sexual health. That's the future, I think. Looking at everything, not just, prescribing a pill and calling it a day.
Precisely. So to wrap things up, this research really challenges our understanding of testosterone, right?
Absolutely. It's not just about sex drive. It's about courtship, competition, securing a mate. It's about, well, it's about a lot more than we initially thought.
Exactly. It's more complex, more nuanced, and honestly, way more fascinating. It really opens up a whole new world of questions, doesn't it?
Totally does. And that's what science is all about, right? Asking questions, challenging assumptions, and constantly refining our understanding of the world around us and ourselves.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And on that note, this has been Trending Today podcast. Everything you missed today in 15 minutes. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Catch you next time. Bye.
See ya.